everyone, how's it going? Fancy95 here. I hope you're all having a great day or evening of where you are. Welcome to the game, Trainslation. Now, I'm not sure about this, but let's do it. Making a full unlocks after you finish the game, so I can't go in there until I actually finish the game. Alright. So now... I think that means map. Let's see. Okay, so the way this game goes, you have to explore through your journeys in a suburban train. Okay, from the way this game goes, you have to go around and explore, probably ask these ghosts some questions, and find the person that can get you out of here. Let's see. Hey dude, how's it going, mate? Huh, it looks like you lost as well. Am I right? I think so. Why am I here? I've been wandering these stations for the past few decades. Every soul that ends up here has their destination assigned to them, and so should you. Oh, right, this? Exactly, but the thing is, I can't really see what shows up on your piece of paper. Every soul's destination appears in a language unfamiliar to those who read them. Oh, and how am I supposed to find my exit? Look around, there are signs that might guide you in the right direction if you manage to decipher what they say. However, how far your exit is depends on what kind of life you lived before you got here. Oh boy. Yep. We all wish we knew that before we did what we did. Good luck finding your exit. You haven't looked around, have you? We all are souls here, and sooner or later you're going to find out how and why you ended up here. Still lost this. Alright. So I have to explore and find my exit. Probably be good to ask these people some questions. Hello, kid. I'm Alexi. How'd you end up here? I'm not sure. What can you tell me about this place? Not much, I'm afraid. I haven't been here for too long, and I've been trying to figure out what my piece of paper says. This language seems oddly familiar, though. I just can't put my finger on it. Really? This gibberish seems familiar to you? Somewhat, yeah. Remember, kid. The world is a big place. Just because you're out of the loop doesn't mean that everybody else is too. You should be paying more attention to the other souls around here. Alright, I guess I'll go. Right, well, whenever you find out, let me know why we all ended up here. I think I died. I'm trying to find my exit, apparently. Oh yeah, so do I. I've been taking a couple of trains to explore these stations. Nice, have you found anything useful? Oh yeah, I noticed that there are more detailed maps at the junction stations. However, they are still in that weird language that I can almost read, but not really. Oh, that is really useful, thanks. You're welcome, still don't know how you ended up here though. Alright, got a train to catch. Looks like I can't get out, kind of get in here. Hey, let me on the train. Let me. Okay. Oh, Final 10 Polaroid. Okay. Hey kid, you look stuck. Well, I'm pretty stuck now that you mention it. This isn't stuck, kid. I was once blocked inside an elevator for 8 whole hours. Now that's stuck. Ho ho ho! He was stuck in there for 8 hours? Damn. 8 hours just sitting alone in the dark with nothing but your thoughts and a pack of cigarettes to keep you company. The thing is, I ran out of thoughts long before I ran out of cigarettes. So you smoked inside the blocked elevator. Isn't that dangerous? Smoking is dangerous no matter where you do it, kid. Didn't your mother ever teach you that? I guess she didn't. What else can you tell me about this place? Not much, except the fact that even though the trains run on time, everybody seems stuck. You're lucky we two can at least talk about it. Some of the others are too far gone for chit-chat. But aren't you just as stuck as everybody else? Of course not. Compared to that elevator, this place is a central freaking park. Right. Huh, there are so many... Blocked? You think this is blocked? There are so many places to go from here. Have you considered reading the map? I never thought of that. Thanks. Sure thing, kid. Anything else I can help you with? Nah, I just need to move. Do it yourself. Bye. For now. I think that might be the name of my station. I think that's the name of my station, I believe. But, either way, I'm gonna ask some people. How long have you been waiting here for? Not really, I'm just about to head out. Wait, you know how to get out of this place? Can't you take me with you? I'm sorry, friend, but my exit isn't your exit. It all depends, you know. What do you mean? It depends on what? One, what you did, of course. On what I did when, what do you mean? On all you ever did, silly. See? Shows piece of paper. My exit is pretty straightforward. All I have to do is get up the third stop from this one. Some may call it karma. Many more call it reckoning. Now, how lost are you really? I'm as lost as ever. I'm going to go now. I'm sorry to hear that, friend. Is there anything else I could do for you? Who are you, and how'd you get here? My name's Edward. I'm not sure how I got here. The last thing I remember was kissing my kids goodnight and going to bed. So that's the last thing you remember. So your name is Edward. What else can you tell me about yourself? I'm just a regular guy, you know. Grew up on the countryside, went to school and then to college, fell in love with the prettiest girl in the world and made her my wife. She gave me 2 sons that I couldn't be prouder of. Besides that, I always wanted to help people, you know. Grew up countryside, went to school, going to college. Yep, pretty much like everyday life. You like helping people? How about me? I'm afraid the time is a little late for helping you now. But I helped a lot of people before. Not only that, I brushed my teeth, paid my taxes, ate my vegetables, and never went to bed angry. I guess I must count for something. I'm sorry, but I need to go now. Hi, can you help me get to this station? I don't know, sorry, but I'm pretty sure I've seen some maps around. Leaving so soon, friend? Yeah, time for me to go. Okay. Well, let's make this my stop. Oh, this way. Oh, okay. And up. On now. Okay. This way. Come ha. Oh wait, that's pointing to the direction of the next metro. Oh no, wait, there it is. So Kamha is where I am, so that's the 3rd station. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there are 11 of them. So there are 11 stations on this route. Oh wait, give me a chance, give me a chance! Oh, never mind. There's an achievement where you can jump on the top of the train and ride on it. Nope, no way out here. Alright, let's go and ask these guys some questions. Probably might need to head back. Alright, let's ask you. Yo, I'm Shay. Do you know where I could get a bite to eat around here? I thought I'd smell some hot dogs at some point. Man, some hot dogs would really hit the spot. I could kill for one right now. You would kill someone for a hot dog? You can't be serious, can you? Oh, I'm dead serious. I've killed folks over less. That's probably the reason why I can't find my damn exit. So you think you're here as some sort of punishment? I never killed but anybody, and I'm here too. You got it all wrong, kid. Everybody gets here at some point. Some of us might just have a hard time finding our exit. That's all. Do you think I'll ever find my exit? Well, seeing how you stopped the chit-chat, even after learning I killed 4 people, I think I have a better chance of getting out of here than most. You even shared your super secret hot dog tip with me. Jeez, even so soon, don't you want to talk about something? You know where this is? Oh, I'm not really sure, but I think it may be on the red line. Better yet, read a map. Oh, okay. So you're Shay, and you're a cold-hearted criminal. Hi there, I'm Guy, a great explorer. Guy. What can you tell me about this place? What can you tell me about this place? This place, there's not much exploring to be done here, I'm afraid. I mean, there is, but after a while things start to smush together. You know, it's like exploring the empty spaces in the Walmart parking lot. Walmart. Oh, Walmart. This guy's definitely American. I remember going over there, crikey, it's been such a long time. Going to the USA. So you don't know how to get out either. Of course I know how to get out. I'm a mighty explorer. I'm just taking a bit of time off at the moment. Exploring a little sabbatical, if you will. Is it sabbatical? Is that how you pronounce it? Sabbatical. I think you lost. Lost? That's preposterous. I'm not lost. I have reached my stop once. You found your station. How come you're still here then? Well, there were these questions, you see. Questions I hadn't the faintest idea about. And even though I was told I could pass, I still felt like there was something missing. Call it explorer's instinct, but I feel like I'm not done with this place just yet. Or maybe it's this place that's not done with me. Right, okay. Alright, what places have you explored? Why, the 7 seas, of course, from Bermuda to Jamaica. I've seen things that you'll never believe. Okay, what sort? Wonderful things. Free refills, or you can eat buffet. Scantily clad maids. Oh, how I yearn for the sea salt's kiss. And the limbo. Oh, how I miss the limbo. The dance, I mean. Not this place. I thought he was an explorer. I told you. I've seen half the world, and then some. All on the biggest and most luxurious cruise ships that have ever set sail. Oh. So you were on a cruise for a holiday. In fact, the last thing I remember was having the time of my life, eating, drinking, and dancing the night away. I then went out to get some fresh air, and all of a sudden I was here. Must have been way too drunk that I just might have lost his balance. Whoa, great explorer there, guy. Alright, tell me about this. No idea. Well, sorry, guy. No time to talk. Gotta go. So we met Shay and Guy. Chase the murderer. Oh, what do we have here? Hey, bud. Hey, kid, I'm Jason. Do you have a minute? I guess I do. What's up? Riddle me this. There are two lovers in a tent. At one point, she says, I love you, and he says, I love you too, and falls to his death. What happened? Sure, the hint is that there are lots of different types of tents in the world. Is it a circus tent? It is. Now tell me how he died. You said he fell to his death in a circus tent. Were they trapeze artists? By God, kid, you're almost there. Two trapeze artists in a circus tent. She says I love you, he says I love you too, and falls to his death. How did he die? His hand slipped, I guess. Fine, I'll tell you. I was holding onto a bar with my teeth. Ew! Holding onto the bar with his teeth? Very difficult mood. Should have been smarter about it. But it's just that I loved her so much. The words... He just let it go. She's like, I love you. I love your car. You should have gone, I love your car. Gee. Oh, I'm sorry for that. Sorry for that. Yeah, tell me how you got here. Not really, no. But if I were you, I'd try the green line today. It's my favorite color. Okay, thanks. Go. Sorry, mate. Gotta go. Au revoir. Alright, what station is this? Alright, that's the last station. So that means this will have to go around. Hello, cursed one. I am Isabel. Hello, Isabel. I am cursed one. You dare mock me? Can't you see that we're all doomed? I was just trying to lighten the doom a little. I mean, mood. Lighten the mood. Laugh it up while you can, blind boy. You'll learn the truth of this place soon enough. I'm not blind, I just can't read these damn directions. Of course you can't read. It's a curse you brought upon yourself, vile sinner. I'm going to go now. Leaving already? Cursed? How so? Don't you see? We're paying the price for our insolence. We wanted too much, too fast. And now we are all doomed and stuck to start it all over. Start what over? Open your eyes, blind boy. This has all happened before. You are not the first, nor you will be the last to have its wits and words twisted and turned beyond any semblance of sense. My wits and words. What are you talking about? Your perception. Do you think you're the only one who can't read the signs? I told you, it's all happened before. So what you're saying is nobody can read the station names. There are those who can read the signs but don't understand the language, and others that can hear the words but not read them. It's happened before. Abel was its name. The whole madness is a curse. Well, thanks for letting me know. Going now. Can you please point me to the right direction? There is no right direction. We have soared too high, dared too much, and now we're being smitten down. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, Isabel, the cursed one. Jason's the trapeze. Oh, let's look at this guy who went on this hula holiday. Alright. Ranua. Oh, that's not showing me the sign. Okay. No! 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 Let me in! Let me in! Oh! Great! Wait, am I at the start again? Oh yeah, I am. Ranua. Ah, Okay. Wait, I know this guy. Oh yeah, that's the Edward as a family. Akora? Yep, that's the one. Wait. Oh, so that leads me to the green line. Okay. I think I'm gonna stay around here for the moment. Still need to do some more exploring. Hello. Hey, you. Just where do you think you're going? I just want to get out of here. Get out? Why? Who knows what hotter hell is waiting for you on the other side? If I were you, kid, I would just stay put. It can't possibly be worse than this. What do I have to lose? Who knows? Maybe the trains become carts and you turn into a beast of burden. Maybe the walls start bleeding and the floor starts screaming in anguish. There's no telling what kind of pain and destruction will wait on the outside. Maybe the sun will scorch your skin. Maybe the air will fill your lungs with razors. Maybe. Jeez. You're rude. Sense? Why bother? This train, that train, who the hell cares? The way I see it, we're stuck here forever. Look around, kid. This place is punishment. I hate to be the one that breaks it to you, but what you're chasing is nothing but a fugazi, a big fat lie. So what's your plan? If it's all a big lie, what are you going to do? I'm going to make the best of the hand I've been dealt, I guess. There's nothing wrong with this place. I'm sure at some point it'll start to grow on me. I think there's a bunch of nonsense right there. I'm gonna find my exit, you'll see. You sure you want to leave, kid? I'm just trying to get to my station. Do you know where this is? I'm gonna level with you, kid. The truth is, you'll never find your station. Nobody ever does. We're all just bumping elbows in the dark here, doing time for the things we ought to get away with. Alright, gotta go now. Bye-bye. No help. Good riddance. Alright. Who the heck are you? Oh, hi there. You want to take a picture? I'm Mandy, by the way. Oh, fine. Hey, can you move a little further back so we're both in the frame? Sure, but where's your camera? What's going on? No camera? We're taking a mental picture. Always known as a memory. Now move back so I can memorize you fully. But I'm already on the edge of the platform. I can't move further back. Well, that's what will make this mental picture really memorable. Ho ha ha, very funny. Memorable. I'm starting to think that you just want to see me get hit by a train. I'm sorry, it's just the last thing I remember before. Oh. You fell off the train. You're trying to get a photo, but you fell off the train. Sorry, it's just the last thing I remember before getting here. There was a camera flash, and was it more like a short circuit anyway? I was up on a train taking some selfies, and the next thing I know, I'm down here. I thought that you might kickstart my memory or something. Yeah, sorry, I can't do that. Going already? Don't you want to talk about something else? You want me to find the station? Wow, to the untrained eye, that station looks like gibberish. Untrained. Ugh, very funny. Not. Alright. So your name is Mandy. And, wait, what's with all these photos here? They look like skeletons? Hmm. Oh, Tina. Well, that's fine. Most people here don't remember. Hold on, I need to try and remember these people's names. This is way too many. You know what? I'm gonna write it on my phone. Give me a moment. Alright, let's get started. Hey, that's fine. Most people here don't remember. How come you remember? I think it has something to do with our past lives, you know. Some people can remember everything and read any sign. Others aren't so lucky. I see, I need to get going. Bye. Oh, so there's nothing else to talk about? What weather? We're indoors. Well, just because we're inside doesn't mean we can't have a nice weather right above our heads. Think about it. I'm getting a late spring, early summer kind of vibe. So, my guess is you're at a beach? So some sort of a spring, early summer? In that case, sure, we're having a nice weather, I guess. We really are. Do you want to know a secret? Ooh, what secret? The secret is that others aren't so lucky. But we are indeed having beautiful weather here today. What others? Aren't we all having a lovely weather? Other stations sure aren't. It's all above our heads. Can't you see it? Right. Alright, tell me how to get this. Well, you ain't helping me there, Tina. Wait a minute. No, huh? Oh, we're in the middle. Okay. Have you seen my husband? I just got here. Don't know anyone? I understand, but if you see him, can you please tell him I'm waiting for him here? The station? Sure, I'll let him know if I see him. What's your husband's name? Odie. So. Unknown. So let's see. Looking for her husband, Odie. He said. Odie, that's a pretty peculiar name. Anything else you want me to pass along for you? Just tell him Penelope is still waiting for him. Tell him I'll never leave this place without him, please. Oh, okay. So your name is Penelope. Penelope. Okay. So what was the last time? He looks Greek. Black curly hair. So this must be some sort of description of what he looks like. Black curly hair. cheekbones and a bit tan. Wow, that's gonna be really hard to tell because you all look like ghosts. The thing is, the last thing I remember him is him being next to me on the boat. I don't remember how I got... So her peculiar encounter is... She was on a boat. My guess is she must have drowned. She must have drowned. Haven't seen anyone like that around. Where'd you look? Oh, I haven't left the station at all. What if he comes looking for me? It's better if I just wait. Well, staying put didn't really work for me. Maybe you should hop on a few trains, start looking. Oh, I couldn't. I'm too afraid. He might pass right through. I've been waiting for too long to just miss him like that. Well, how long have you been waiting for your husband? 20 years? Give or take. That's why I'm sure he's about to show up at any minute. Any minute now, he'll walk off one of these trains. For 20 years. Yeah, I'll leave you to it. I'm sorry, I don't know. I haven't left this spot in case my husband comes looking. Alright. So Penelope is looking for a husband? No. Oh! Already did Tina. Already did Tina. Alright, who might you be, sir? Hey, you keep going, do the thing. Can you get me out of here? Hope you get out. Where's the fun in that? Look around, there are people leaving every minute. Your time will come sooner or later. You just have to have faith. This whole place is it's just a big old waiting room. A waiting room? For what? What's on the other side? That I don't know. The only thing I can tell you for sure is that no one makes the trip alone. I can't make it alone. Who do I need to take with me? As many as you can now. Are you sure you want to go? I'm trying, I just don't know where I'm going. Do you know where this stop? I'm gonna level with you, kid. Everybody gets to their stop eventually, sooner or later, we'll all be released. It's just a matter of time before you, me, and everyone else gets to walk right on out of here. At least he has some words of encouragement. So that, I do appreciate. Alright, no Hawk? Okay. I got an idea. I have an idea. Oh! Oh wait, there's some unusual papers here. I think I'll have to ask these people here later. I got an idea. We're gonna work through each station one by one. I'm gonna start from the very beginning. We'll do the stations first, and then the people on this, and the people that's on the suburban train on this line. Get to the red route soon. Alright, let's... I think I should write down each names from different stations. On up. So that's the yellow line. Alright, we'll get to that one soon. Speaking of, let's have a look at these paintings. Whoa! Looks like Illuminati. Kamha? Wait a minute. Oh! I'm going up to the very end. Well, that could do. That could do. It's gonna be a lot of information that I need to collect. I think I was just here before, wasn't I? Alright. Last stop. Last stop. Tunehe? Tunehe. Okay. So this is the very end of the station. Okay, let's have a good look around. I'll have to write each name on here. Alright. Tunehe? Wait, what the? Huh, that's odd. Ooh. Each photo looks very different. Ooh, creature? Interesting. Guess there's a train arriving here. So we're on the blue line. Otonohe. That means we need to move on to our next station. Ooh, sick mohawk, mate. Write down each list as I go about on this journey. Clearly we don't see anything for Tone here. It's okay. Move on to the next station. This is going to be a lot to do. And oh yeah, that's right. This one connects to the green line. Okay. Write down each of them on here. There we go. Alright, let's go and ask some questions. I'm not going to leave this area. I want to know these others. Hey kid, how's it going? I'm never going to find a way out of here, am I? Don't you ever say never, kid. Why, I remember that not too long ago. I was feeling the same way you do. There's just no way out, I told myself. Really? The taxman was biting at me heels, searching every nook and cranny for a reason to lock me up. Just took a little bit of creativity, a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of faking my own death, and they were out of my hair for good. Faked your own death. So we got a death faker. So he technically faked his death to avoid tax. You faked your own death? Is that how you got here? No, kid. You get here by not faking your death, if you know what I mean. So he tried to fake it, but he died. So how'd you die for real? The truth is, kid, faking your own death gets awfully lonely after a while. I figured, fake it till you make it, eh? That's not gonna really work, mate. Leaving so Leaving so soon, old sport? I'm not doing too well, obviously. Oh, I'm awfully sorry to hear that, but I think I have just the thing to cheer you up. So we got a death faker, faked his own death to avoid tax, but he died. But he actually died. But he didn't give me his name. A song. There's no sad situation that the song can make better. Right? You just have to remember to take it into your heart. Okay, there's some view tips. A song. I really doubt that's gonna help. Na 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 na. Surprisingly, I feel a little better. Thanks. I'll be on my way now. Leaving so spoon. I'm not really quite sure, but if I have to guess, I'd say that maybe it's on the yellow line. Alright, we're gonna call you... We're gonna call him Sport. We're gonna call him Sport. Let's see, anyone else here? Oh yeah, there is. So your name is Donna? I've never been sick a day in my life. How come you're not trying to get out? Oh, believe me, it's not for a lack of trying. So you've just given up. Oh, what's the point? We're all just grasping at straws here. If you're looking for answers, you best look someplace else. I'll be on the way. Anything else you'd like to know before you leave? You've never been sick, really? Not even once? Not even once. All my life I've been healthy as a horse. Never broke a bone either. Did you just cough? Yeah, I must be coming down with something. But you just said you'd never been sick a day in your life. Well, yeah, but I'm dead now. What do you mean, dead? Am I dead too? You look pretty dead to me, kiddo. But that's not all bad. Look at me. I died on the Sunday. Never having been sick a day in my life. Jeez. Thanks for that, Donna. Let's see. So, Donna... never been sick. Anything else you want to talk about? How do I get out of here? Everybody here is going somewhere. You just need to know where you have to be. Try taking the blue line. It looks extra crisp today. Dead men, yeah, whatever. Okay, so there's nothing much here. So I've interviewed two people named Sport and Donna. Moving on to the next line, Kamha. So blue line, Kamha. Wait, where's... Oh no, wait, that's on another train. That's on the green line. Well, I'm still gonna wait. Oof. Skeletons. Oh, that looks like a tram. Is this me? Yay, here's my train. Oh, it's these guys again. Do 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 do. All right, here's my stop. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Kamha? Oh yeah, I remember Guy. I did interview him, but I need to add him on the list. A great explorer, but he was on a holiday. Died drunk while falling off a cruise ship drunk. Let's see. Bermuda to Jamaica. From Bermuda to Jamaica. Like to have a list here. Yeah, it's cruise ship. Instant out of the way, then I went out to get some fresh air, and all of a sudden I was here. He died falling off the veranda of his cabin on a cruise ship, drunk, traveling from Bermuda to Jamaica. There, that should solve it. So, guy is not really an explorer. Oh, is this, yep, that's Shay. Well, you got what you deserve, Shay. That's my train! You know what? I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna do some exploring. I wanna check out these maps here. Maybe I can find all the 10 Polaroids. Ooh, that's cool. Now, there is an achievement to try and jump on top of the train, but I don't know which station it would be. Is that a baby? That's a baby! That's for a thumbnail. Don't know what that is. I think those look like top pillars of a bridge. Don't really know. Hey, guy. That's a lot of skeletons there. Don't know what that is. Seen that before. Don't know what that is. Oh. That looks like a UFO. Maybe a spaceship. That's just my guess. So, we're going to a next station. A train arriving on this side. Yes, it is. One up. Oh, yeah, that's right. I need to look at all these pictures. Wow. Oh, it's those ones! Maybe it's one of those pictures that's on the metros. That must be it. Alright, next train. I'll need to write this down. Or just type it down. Alright, so this one connects to the yellow. Alright, let's have a look. Maybe it might be hidden somewhere, but we'll never know. Listen to Michelle, kid. So your name is Michelle. Alright. There ain't no rest for the wicked. Wicked? What makes you think I'm wicked? Well, you're here, aren't you? You must have done something. I haven't done anything. All I'm trying to do is get the hell out of here. That might be your problem right here. You're just trying to get out. Isn't everyone just trying to get out? They are, yes. But you seem so keen on getting out what you're ignoring the big question altogether. What big question? The big question, why are you here? It is the why that will get you the how. Not the other way around. You seem so hung up on that station of yours. You're not seeing the forest for the trees. It seems to me that you haven't been paying enough attention. Well, thanks for letting me know. I should go now. Are you sure you want to leave already, kid? I'm not looking to rest. To get it? I'm looking to get out. Well, just running around here aimlessly won't do you any good. You know? Why do you think that? Oh, nothing. I just have a feeling you're too hung up on yourself to care about anything else, or anyone else, for that matter. That's not so. That's not so. I'm just trying to make sense of all this. You know. Well, that's a bunch of bull. How many people have you talked to? How many of their names do you know? How many of their stories have you heard? Spare me, kid. You'll never learn. So, it does seem I need to learn everyone. Can you help me get here, Michelle? Not really, no. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself what you do once you get here? Alright. Ah, so you're Emily. Can you help me get where I'm supposed to be? I can't read Russian and everyone is giving me a confusing direction. Well, what I can tell you for sure is that it's not Russian. You might also want to try to find a map. There's one each juncture, you know. Also, we all dead. Well, you know what they say. You either get busy living or you get busy dying. Seems to me like dying isn't as easy as everyone thought. Don't worry. You'll get there eventually. Get where eventually? Where you need to be, silly. You just have to pay more attention to things, that's all. Thanks, I guess. I'll be on my way. Are you sure you don't want to talk some more? Hey, do you know who's driving these trains? I haven't seen any conductors. Now that you mention it, I haven't either. But hey, does it really matter who's driving as long as they're all right on schedule? I don't know. I have to go now. So, she didn't help me much, nor she didn't really tell me anything about herself. But, time to hop on this train. Moving on to the next station. 108. Okay. So there are 11 stations on the blue line. Wait, didn't I already see that? I think I already did. Yeah, I think I already did. Alright, let's go. Let's go and ask someone else some questions. Ooh, what's this? It looks like some sort of a temple around there. Nope, nothing there. Oh, that's the baby again. Alright. Hey, mate. Yeah! Yeah! Really? You sure? Damn sure. Oh, yeah! Yeah! Did I stutter? Oh, it's on now. You ready? I was born ready. Really think so? I know so. Do you now? I do actually. I don't know, man. You don't seem ready. I am. Are you? I think. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nah, I don't think you can handle this. Try me. Try me. Should I? You should. I don't think it's worth it. Oh yeah. 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 Come on, man. You sure like to waste time talking to random souls? He was pretty much wasting my time. I think we're both wasting each other's time. At this point, I'm not even sure what we're doing here. We seemingly waste our time, but at this point, I'm not even sure if there is such thing as time here. That sounds like a slippery slope into a deeper topic. Shall we go back to our roots? Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Yes. Maybe. Still yes? This is tiring. It kind of is, yeah. What were you planning on telling me anyway? Oh, I talked to someone here who told me a little secret. I'm gonna call this guy Yeah. Alright, what's the secret? I mean, I'm not sure if I should tell you. Come on, man, we've been at this for hours. Minutes. Fine, whatever, just tell me the secret. Okay, fine. Fine. 26 stop. There are in total 26 stops and 8 junctions. Also, the names are somehow linked to the color and type of each line. Whoa, this guy really knows his stuff. "26 stops, 8 junctions." As other junctions. Also, at your final destination stop, you'll be asked about your encounters with other souls. Keep that in mind. You'll probably know that being selfish won't get you anywhere, yeah? Kind of think of it, I'm very glad I'm putting this down in my notes. Well, thank you for the tip. Appreciate it. So the only way if I could pass that test is if I know everyone's life experience. Well, some of it actually. CK. No, it's not my train. Gonna wait. That's my train. Do you mind? Sorry, mate, but I just need to focus on... Oh, you know. Connection, sweet. I think the station is just right over here. Alright, no hark. Alright. I'll call you the Encourager, because you encourage others. That looks like a tree. Those are some trams. They could be important at some point. Ooh. Damn it, I can't jump on there. Alright. Let's ask you. And oh, okay. Tina. And are you Isabella? No, Penelope. That's her name. Yes, I remember you now. Alright, I need to wait for my train. So we're going to another station. There. Okay. I'll talk to the people on the station. I'll talk to the people that's on the train later. First, I want to focus on these. Ooh, pretty. Very nice. Oh, here's my stop. Bingo. So from here, you connect to the yellow. So there are 8 junctions, so my guess is they're all in different colors. That's just my opinion. So let's have a look. Let's head back up. And aha! There it is. Found you. So there are all the stations that are linked together. So we went past about... So there are 2 yellow stations and 1 green, or 2 greens that are linked to the blue line. Okay. Well, I still want to stay on the same line. Because I need to collect every single information from every individual. And I do believe it's important. So far I don't see anything. So I might as well move on to the next station. Alright, on this train? Hello again. How's it going, mate? Nope, nothing here. Alright, let's go and ask some questions from someone here. Hey dude, how's it going? Hey, looks like you're lost as well. Am I right? Well, I've been running these stations for a few decades. I'll call you the Wanderer. Every soul ends up here as their destination assigned to them. The thing is, I can't actually see what shows up on your piece of paper. Every soul's destination appears in a language unfamiliar to those who read them. Well, then how am I supposed to find my exit? Look around, there are signs that might guide you in the right direction if you manage to decipher what they say. However, how far your exit is depends on what kind of life you lived before you got here. Yep, we all wish we knew that before we did what we did. Good luck finding your exit, kid. Alright, so this must be from the very start of the station that I just... Well, this was the station where I started. Follow your paper and good luck. Yep, pretty much. Oh, that's right. Alexei! I've been here for too long, and I've been trying to figure out what my piece of paper says. This language seems oddly familiar, though. Just can't put my finger through it. Somewhat, yeah. Remember, kid, the world is a big place. Just because you're out of the loop doesn't mean that everybody else is too. You should be paying more attention to the other souls around here. Let's see where I should go anyway. Right, well, whenever you find out, let me know why we all ended up here. I think I died trying to find my exit, apparently. Oh yeah, so do I. I've been taking a couple of trains to explore these stations. Nice, have you found anything useful? Oh yeah, I noticed that there are more detailed maps of junction stations. However, they are still in a weird language that I can almost read, but not really. You're welcome. Still don't know how you ended up here, though. Alright. Well, I'll need to hop on to the next one. Me? Nope, that's not me. Bingo. Don't think I haven't seen this train. Wait. Wait, you're on the train? Tina! What are you doing on the train? Huh. That's weird. Anyways, let's hop off. Yeah, I already talked to her before. Yeah, this lady is bloody rude. You're a terrible lady. I think we'll name her Terrible Lady. Alright, next station. Oh, here's my stop. Let's see. Baja. There's no connection around here. So let's go ahead and ask some questions. You. Hello, Emily. Can you help me get what I'm supposed... Wait a second. Wait a second, I've met you. You had OneWeb. What about you? Donna. Oh, that's the one that's been sick, who is very fit and healthy, and he actually died. You're also in the same boat as me. Alright, last stop. Last stop. Here we go. Alright, this must be the last stop. Alright. Hey, dude. Ozzy. Hello, traveler. 'Tis I, the one they call Ozzy. Ozzy. G'day, Ozzy. How you doing, mate? Can you help me get out of here? Path is yours to find, young one. I cannot help you get there. All I can say is that while one journey ends, another may soon begin anew. So in other words, once one journey is finished, there'll always be the next one going ahead. Yes and no. There's more to this place than just following directions. Deep down you know that. To know the truth, you must know why you're here. Once you know that, your path shall be revealed. No further inquiries then? Oh, so what can you tell me about this place? All I can say for certain that within this place all glory fades. Alright. All glory fades. The deeds that came before are lost, but not forgiven. Look upon me and tell me what you see. What do I see? I see a traveler, like me, waiting for his train. Then you are blind. You must see past this antique place. Peer further into what once was, but is no more. Look on my works. though they are nothing but remains. I don't understand what works. Though the sands stretch far away, if you look closely, you may see the glimmers of the past. Hopes and dreams and woes alike. We were not born to this place. We are just passing through. Passing through to where? Who are you? My name is Ozzy, King of Kings. Nothing of my work remains but a colossal wreck. For that you must commit, my friend, all this to memory. Every word you speak and every man you meet may bring you closer to where you need to be. I'm as lost as ever. I'm going to go now. Can you read names at the station? Alas, I cannot. Though I have pondered their meaning myself. There are some who believe that the crux of the matter lies at the crossings. Well, be gone then! Sounds like a wizard if you ask me. Alright, well in that case, let's go on every train. Alright, we'll go... Bingo! Alright, now let's go and ask some people on this train. Is that... That's Guy. That's gotta be Guy. Hello there, son. Are you by any chance interested in European football? I'd rather talk about something else. What is your name? My name? To be honest, son, I seem to have forgotten it. How embarrassing. Is there anything you can remember? Oh, just some bits and pieces here and there. Nothing of much value, though. It's the reason I'm rambling about football so much. It used to be my whole life, and now I can barely remember anything about it now. Aren't there more important things than football that you should be trying to remember? What could be more important than football, kid? Now you're just spewing nonsense. You're getting kind of rude. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Is there anything else I can do for you? Yeah, let's talk football. As opposed to American football, European football is played on the pitch, not on the field. Wait, maybe I can... EU football. European football is played on a pitch. A field. Tell me more. It all started in 1876, when during a rainy day in Stoke, England, Sergeant Theodore F. Ball first had the idea to inflate a big bladder and kick it around, starting a global phenomenon. Isn't that something? Stoke, England. So Theodore F. Oh, I think I know what the F ball would be for. Football. Inflate a pig bladder. Which soon became football. So what happened next? The Germans happened. Somehow the Kaiser learned of Sir Ball's newly found pastime and decided to outright steal it. Through a vast network of spies, he managed to learn the basics of the English game and take it back to Bavaria. They trained boys in infancy just to get the upper hand. Okay, this is getting really a lot of information here. Of course not. What? Are you stupid or something? That's pretty rude for an Englishman. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Help me get out of here. Out is what they say in football when the ball goes out of bounds. Gee, thanks. Anything else I can assist you with, son? Hello. Well, gotta go. Get out of the way. Oh. Let me see. Isabella. The cursed. Yeah. Perception. Lame. Oh, I know that guy. That's the Encourager. Encourages us to keep going. Alright, let's wait for the next train. So it's very simple. We just go to the red metro line called Tanao. But I like to explore around these trains so I can get to know the others and get more information. I wonder. Where are the achievements? Prove that you're a good listener. Ride on the roof of the train. Find all 10 hidden Polaroid pictures. I think they're all for each train. Nah, I'm just gonna wait. And I think the trains just go around and round. There are 2 tracks, but each of them go a different direction. That's just my opinion. So in that case, I'll just have to wait here until I find someone. If I find the same one on the exact specific train, I'll hop off it and swap over to the next one. Oh, is this the selfie chick? It's gotta be that selfie chick, isn't it? Mandy, that's her name. Taking a... What's going on? Let's see. Okay. Mental picture. So she can memorize the image in her head. I was up on the train taking some self. You were on top of the roof. She was on top of the roof of the train. Alright, let's hop off. And we're just going to wait for our next train. And here comes another train. Wait, I already met this Aussie guy. Yeah, be gone then. I thought so. That must be Penelope. There's also Penelope and Guy. Alright, it's on another train up above me. There's my train. Bingo. Alright, let's have a look. Zazidovori. Hey, what language is that you're talking? Alright, we'll nickname you that. It's Russian. I'm trying to practice as much as I can. I thought it might be Russian. So you can read the names of the station? That's great! Niet. So you can't read it, but you can speak it. No, I can read Russian as well. So what you're saying is that this isn't Russian? Da, it's not. Man, a few Russian words. I see. Anything else? Can you read this? How do I get to this place? Nah, I don't know what that says. Right, I thought you would. By now. Do svidaniya. Don't have to say that. Ugh. It's her again? Isabella, the cursed one. Goodbye. Jason. Did I have Jason before? Nope. So you're new to me. Riddle me this. Oh, right. He died on a trapeze. Died on a trapeze. when trying to say I love you too, to his partner, while holding the trapeze bar, well, accidentally lets go of the trapeze bar with his mouth. With his mouth. There we go. In the circus tent.
Welcome back!
Next station.
I'm genuinely happy to see that you finished the game. How was your experience? You can't answer anyway. So, hi, I'm Nick, the designer of Trainslation, and I'm about to spoil everything about the development process and break all the illusions behind the game's system, and I assume that's exactly what you're here to find out about. Now, even though this is a pretty small, silly little project, a surprising amount of work went into it. This video alone is pretty long, and it's not designed to please the algorithm gods or to generate any money from ad revenue. Hell, it took me like a whole month to put together. Instead, it's more for those who find this kind of design deep dive interesting. It's for you. The thing is, normally, short indie games are made in months, some in years, but the idea of a game jam is to focus on an interesting mechanic and make it into a bare-bones functional prototype. So, with roughly 3 days at our disposal and a rough idea in mind, we started off by setting in stone 2 core design pillars that would dictate the direction of the game's development. First, the gameplay loop focus is on gathering and deciphering information, and second, everything is diegetic. This means that every piece of information has to belong in the game's world. No in-game menus, no UI, and no buttons. So, with the basic idea laid out and the design pillars set in stone, we set up a quick Trello board and started making a vague to-do list. Design a decently sized and interconnected map layout. We were aiming for at least 3 colored lines with around 20 stops. Create a subway system with functional trains, give the player a destination, populate each station with accurate signs indicating directions, and make all the signs in a foreign language. Scatter different types of information throughout multiple stations, requiring a little bit of exploration, and finally avoid information overload. So that means no timetables or overcrowded signs. Sounds like a pretty solid plan, right? The original team was composed out of 5 people, covering pretty much all the core disciplines of game development. But even though most of us knew what we were doing, not everything went as smooth as we wanted to. So this is me trying to shine a light on the huge amount of work that goes even in a short weekend project like this. First up, we put together some placeholder art, and my first and top priority was to get the map layout right. We ended up with more stations than we initially planned for, and I started distributing them equally on 4 lines so I can plot them on an easily editable map. Now, in order to create some replay value, we wanted to have the player's spawn point randomized every time the game starts, and this required a robust map layout design that is balanced and results in roughly the same playtime and difficulty every gameplay session. The secret to that robust map design is having the 4 colored tracks intersect with each other in a 2x2 formation. So for example, the yellow line never intersects with a green line and the blue line does not intersect with the red line. This design allows us to create the following 2 rules for the player spawn condition. First, the player will always spawn on a randomly colored small station. That means that they will never spawn in a junction station. And second, the final ghost will always spawn on one of the small stations that does not intersect with the player's line color. These 2 simple rules ensure that every player starts on a new station and they have to change at least 2 trains at a major junction stop in order to reach their destination. This seems to satisfy the complexity and difficulty requirements I was going for in a purely procedural way. But even though the layout makes sense, how can I be sure that players can actually find their destination?
So there are 4 trains.
I tried my best to make sure that the player knows their current location through various signs and color choices. For example, every station has several big signs with the station name on them using the same color as the train track color of that line, as well as various elements of the station itself being colored in that same hue to subconsciously reinforce what line the player is on. I didn't want any confusion about the player's current location because I think that would subtract from the puzzle and it would have been the artificial kind of difficult, which I hate. But when it comes to navigation, I had to be careful with the amount of information I revealed to the player, so the puzzle of reaching the destination isn't too difficult but not too easy either. Therefore, I made the choice of having 2 types of navigational information. First, a directional sign that tells the player all the stop names on that colored line. I placed these signs on every small station above the train tracks at an angle that allows the player to quickly reference the current station name by having it on the screen in the background. These signs also label the different types of small and big junction stations through visual design, without really explaining what those bigger dots are, encouraging the player to go there and explore. The second type of navigational information are the map posters that reveal which lines are intersected and what are the names of the junction stations that connect them. In order to make sure that the puzzle isn't completely solved by the time the player sees this map, I made the conscious decision of leaving out the names of the small stations from this map. This requires a minimal level of memorization, pushing the player out of their comfort zone, asking them to memorize a word in a foreign language, by not allowing them to see both the map and the names of all the stations on screen at the same time. Placing these signs throughout every station was quite a manual and tedious process, making sure all the information is correct even based on which side of the platform the sign was placed. However, after the jam ended, we created a script that makes the sign prefab automatically assign the correct color onto itself based on the closest train track it finds. This made placing signs significantly easier. When it came to recreating the map layout in-game, due to me not being very familiar with Unity, a lot of bad decisions were made regarding prefab management, and as a result, I had to do a lot of manual work to create the stations and place them correctly to replicate the map layout I originally designed. Each station has 2 tracks that needed to be manually linked to the previous and next stops. This was a very tedious task to do, knowing that if any mistake is made, the whole gameplay loop would break. Later during the jam, we created a debug tool that allows us to drag tracks on top of each other in order to link them. That being said, keeping track of all the stations and how they link to each other, including the junction points that act as crossroads between 4 stations, was difficult, to say the least. Especially that all tracks had Cyrillic names and no one on the team had any idea how to read the Cyrillic alphabet. Fun. Therefore, in order to make sure we get things done within the jam deadline, we ended up sleeping roughly 4 to 5 hours each night, which can be seen from the timestamps on our Git commits that went up until 8 AM during certain nights. Please don't do what we did if you take part in a game jam. We are professionally trained idiots. Now, while I was putting together the final touches of the map layout and sign placements, Josh was putting together the basic functionalities of the train system. The trains themselves are rather interesting. They are actually created and simulated in real time regardless of what station you're in. It's pretty impressive to look from above and see this whole dumpster fire work so smoothly. At first, we had the train spawn for every station, which resulted in trains arriving at the station on both sides at the same time. This didn't feel right, and we wanted to add some sort of delay to the train schedule to create some variety. We didn't want to introduce new variables to this already fragile system, so the way we solved this problem was by simply spawning less trains than there are stations, which created gaps in the train line, resulting in enough variety in the arrival times that we were happy to ship the game with. There were many performance-related problems, specifically because we aimed for a near-seamless transition between stations, which meant that all of our stations were in a single Unity scene. For example, once you get on a train, it starts moving, and after a few seconds, it teleports to the next station. So in order to avoid computers catching on fire, we created a station streaming system where we render the current station you're on, and as soon as you step on a train and the doors close, the next station loads in order to allow for a near-seamless transition. Even though we didn't get the transition to be perfect, there are a lot of elements and systems that come together to make the train experience as smooth as it currently is. Trains are animated by two separate easing curves, one for the train arriving in the station, heavily eased at the end to simulate the slow, gradual braking on the train car, and another one heavily eased at the beginning to simulate the train's weight during the slow acceleration period. These two animations play over a controlled set amount of time, with a wait period in between, during which time we play the doors opening animation. The train doors were coded in such a way that based on a label called platform side that we set on each station, we can control on which side the doors open. The opening animation is only a handful of keyframes I've put together. I thought it was cool to create that initial seal break after which the doors swing fully open. The closing animation is the same one as the opening one, but played in reverse. It looked good enough and saved us a few precious minutes during the tight deadline of the game jam. Later on in development, we also added a subtle screen shake animation tied directly to the train's movement speed in order to sell the effect even more. We wanted the train experience to be believable, and that leads me to one thing I despise in video games, and that is the player character glitching out whenever they are on a moving platform. It's a common oversight in most games, but I think it's incredibly distracting, especially in a game about immersion and diegetic design. We had to make sure that the player's character feels firmly planted on the train's floor, and for that we had to basically rewrite our own player controller code because the pre-made ones we found online were either too buggy or not good enough. As a result, when you're on board the train, the game calculates the train's velocity and adds it to your camera view every frame. And on top of that, if the train rotates, the game tracks your last position relative to the train's origin and adds that to your velocity as well. Sadly, we didn't get to take advantage of this last one because all our train tracks ended up being straight. However, it's worth mentioning that if we were to create curved spline-based tracks, it should work. At this point, we have functional trains that arrive in stations and you can get on board, but we have another problem. You can also jump on the tracks, and that's not good. So in order to fix that, whenever the track is empty, the game places a big invisible collision wall right at the edge of the platform, preventing players from walking off of it. As soon as the train arrives in the station and the doors open, the game removes that invisible wall, only to add it back when the doors close. However, our problem doesn't end there. Our train model is shorter than the length of our platform, so we found out that players can jump on the track in front and behind the train while the doors were open. In order to fix this, we used a very janky solution of placing long invisible walls on each side of the train that actually follow the train's movement, covering those gaps in the process. And with the trains functional and the tracks suicide-proof, next up we had to figure out what language to use for the foreign signs. We knew we wanted the signs to be in a foreign language that is difficult to read, but not impossible. After all, the player doesn't have to understand the meaning of the word, they just have to identify it visually and match it to the text on their piece of paper, which is in a different font on purpose. In order to achieve that, we have to make sure that the selected language is spoken by a fairly small number of people to ensure that most players will get the experience of not understanding it. Based on those criteria, anything like Hindi or Chinese were excluded strictly based on their popularity. We researched a handful of languages like Thai and Sindhi, but they were either too difficult to read or we had technical problems with the in-game fonts. Due to the tight game jam deadline, we were also limited with how far we can push the game's graphics, so for that reason we opted for simple low poly shapes with solid colors as textures and a very heavy fog in order to mask the lack of details and create a moody and potentially spooky atmosphere. This led us in the thematic direction of old Soviet-era subway, which dictated the style of our mood boards, 3D models, sound design, and eventually the language we ended up going with. We knew we wanted a Cyrillic alphabet, but Russian is still a very popular language. There are other languages using the Cyrillic alphabet like Serbian and Ukrainian, but they are also very closely related to Russian. So in the end we went with Bulgarian, which is, at least to our knowledge, the most distant language from Russian that still uses the Cyrillic alphabet. So with the help of our writer Pasho and translating assistance from Alexei, we created names for all the stations. I was careful to specifically pick words that are least likely to be understood by native Russian speakers, just in case. Thematically, we also wanted to infuse each station's name with some sort of meaning. So each of the 4 colored lines ended up representing a season of the year, and each of the small stations on that line has a name representative of an object or activity related to that season. The big junction stations are using words that combine the 2 seasons intersecting at that specific point. For example, at the intersection between winter's blizzard and pole and autumn's harvest and cinnamon, we have decay. And speaking of decay, because the player has to wait for trains to arrive every couple of minutes, we thought it would be cool to have other passengers on the platform also waiting for the train that you can potentially interact with. Given the Soviet-era vibes and the thick fog, those passengers turned into ghosts at one point during development, and we somehow agreed that the player character is also dead, potentially also a ghost. This was partially a thematic decision, but also partly a time-saving one, because it turns out you don't have to create texture variants for transparent glowing ghosts. You also don't have to animate a walk cycle for them either, you just use a sine wave to have them slowly float up and down. The ethereal look and poses were created by our artist Lenny. We manually placed spawn points for ghosts at each station and set a probability percentage of ghosts appearing in those points. The player can simply walk up to a ghost to trigger an interaction, and I wanted to specifically avoid requiring a button input from the player in order to engage in conversation, because it would require an explanatory button prompt UI on the screen, and that goes against the diegetic design pillar. That being said, due to the time and budget constraints, voice acting was not an option, so we had to go with a traditional text dialogue, which goes a little bit against the whole diegetic design, but it feels like a good compromise rather than giving up dialogue completely. We tried to keep the conversation interaction UI minimal and avoid any unnecessary elements like borders or text containers. We even went as far as replacing the default arrow cursor with a vague floating whisper-like blurred circle to keep with the theme. We had to make sure the options you hover your cursor over have pretty big hitboxes and become highlighted in a very obvious way to account for the lack of an arrow pointer on your cursor. And with the dialogue systems now functional, it was time to inject each ghost with some sort of personality.
Interesting.
This was the first time both me and Pasha designed and wrote dialogue for a game. We did not have any prior experience with narrative branching, so we tried to keep the structure of the dialogue very simple. Initially, we used the game dialogue library called Yarn, which proved to be a bad idea for a game jam. It was very difficult to implement, and the text editor we used called Yarn Spinner, even though it was nice and visual, it was incredibly buggy, to the point where it was almost unusable. A character's dialogue looked something like this, and the way the game knew the order of things is by checking the number of indents before each sentence. This meant that being off by a single indent anywhere in the file resulted in a conversation ending prematurely without any notice, which is what ended up happening with some of the characters we haven't checked well enough. This required a lot of time on our end to get things right and make sure we achieved the bare minimum of functionality in the version of the game we shipped at the end of the jam. After the deadline, we gave up on Yarn and migrated to Inky, a much better and elegant solution that was easier to work with and suited our needs better. In the end, Pasha created an impressive roster of 25 individual ghost characters, each with their own names, quirks, and personalities. This included a handful of joke characters that had very short dialogue in foreign languages in order to bump up the variety of interactions. The conversations were structured in such a way that each ghost would have a little story for you, told in 3 to 4 short paragraphs. Even though each ghost has their own unique name, in our attempts to avoid any unnecessary UI elements, we don't actually display those on screen. Instead, we opted for some of the ghosts to bring up their own name naturally in conversation. This comes into play later on when I'll be talking about the ending of the game. We also wanted to convey a bigger theme throughout the conversations and put a little bit more focus on world building, not just random flavor text. So ghosts will bring up certain interesting narrative concepts, such as the difficulty of getting to your destination stop is correlated with how you lived your past life, resulting in certain ghosts roaming those stations for decades and some even refusing to go to their destination out of fear of what comes next. We also came up with a handful of humanizing traits, like a fresh ghost that arrived on the platform minutes ago, being as lost as you are, or a ghost trying to kill themselves by jumping in front of the train, only to phase through its walls and end up riding it. But even though they have interesting stories to tell, could we maybe use ghosts for a little bit more than just flavor text?
Well, let's go to whichever connection we can find first. Whether it's green...
I am personally a huge fan of invisible
Yellow.
design. Little things that the game does to make your experience more pleasant without the player ever realizing.
Green
When it
it
comes to
is.
tutorials, normally, especially in the context of a game jam, most games would have a screen before you start playing with a wall of text explaining how to play the game and what you have to do in order to win, sometimes accompanied by a cacophony of button prompts that you are somehow supposed to memorize before even playing the game. I absolutely hate that, and I think the best kind of tutorial is a fully invisible one. So, despite the time limitations, I tried to design an invisible tutorial with the tools and limitations we had as well as the game's mechanics in mind. First of all, I started with the assumption that the player's gaming literacy is at a level where they know you move around with WASD and control the camera with the mouse. So I intentionally left those concepts out of the tutorial. When you start the game, the very first moment when you spawn, we made sure your camera is pointed downwards, towards a note with your destination written on it. This instantly communicates to you what
he's
your
the one that
goal
died on
is.
the
The text on the note
trapeze.
is also colored to match the color of the line your destination stop is on. And even though it's not meant to be a revelation at the point when the player sees it, it's a
that's
subtle
the guy that
nudge in
killed
the
4
right
people?
direction. Because the player most likely
And he'll
won't be
kill
able
anyone
to
for a
read
hot
that
dog,
Cyrillic
I
station
recall.
name, it's important to highlight it by making sure nothing else on the screen is competing
check on
for
the
the
other
player's
side.
attention. After a second or two, the player realizes that they are free to look around, away from the note, at which point it's subconsciously registered that the note can be accessed at any time by simply looking down. I was inspired by the map in Minecraft and how easy and natural it feels to look down towards a piece of paper. I like this method a lot because I think it's clean, very elegant and non-intrusive, and it doesn't require any UI displaying a button prompt or any text on how to go back to that piece of paper. And best of all, it fits the game's diegetic
I
philosophy.
already met Michelle.
Now, due to the tight deadline, we had a limited number
No
of ghost
rest
dialogues.
for the wicked.
So later on, in order to make sure we minimize the possibility of an interaction repeating, we added a system that picks which dialogue to assign to each ghost at the exact point you start interacting with that ghost. Sort of like Schrodinger's
Okay, this is
dialogue.
stuck.
This allows us to always pick a dialogue interaction you haven't seen yet in that playthrough, assuring that you'll go through all of them in a pseudo-random order before any dialogue repeats.
Yep,
This is
European
called
football.
the random bag method. This also allows us to use this system for our invisible tutorial. We have 2 dialogues that are written to act as sneaky tutorials, revealing the basic mechanics of the game and subtly hinting the player towards their goal. Disguised as regular interactions with random ghosts, we made sure they mentioned some crucial pieces of information. For example, that the text on your piece of paper is your destination and that you might find a map
Look
at
new.
junction stations. And so we made sure that whatever 2 ghosts you first interact with, regardless of where they are, they will always trigger these 2
Oh, this is
sneaky
Edward.
tutorial dialogues. Initially, we had a predefined tutorial ghost on the same station you spawn on. However, this doesn't assure that every player will interact with that tutorial ghost before they leave the
Hold
station.
it.
This way, with the random bag method, the player has the freedom to go wherever they want,
And
but we
there's
have the
Isabel.
assurance that they will eventually interact with a ghost
Bloody
and get
hell.
to see that tutorial dialogue instead of
Actually,
missing
I'll
it
hop on it
completely.
later.
We also structured the
Oh
initial 2 tutorial dialogues
my.
to not feel like you are stuck in them. We didn't want to make the dialogue the equivalent of a pop-up screen or anything intrusive, so even though you might quit the conversation early, the ghost still gives you a condensed piece of information as a goodbye message that might be useful for your journey. Now, there are a lot of ways to influence the player's behavior through mechanical systems
Oh
and
my.
visual cues, but could we also maybe do it with sound?
God. That's a head.
Given the mood and tone of the world we were building,
Jeez.
we knew that sound had to play
That was
an
like a city.
important role cementing that diegetic feel. The most mechanically important piece of sound we added to the game was the train jingle. We ripped this straight from a random YouTube video of Tokyo train sounds, and every time a train is about to arrive in a station, a little distorted jingle plays. This was designed through repeated use and observation to hopefully evoke a Pavlovian response from the player. So even if they are not looking towards the train tracks, the player would know that a train is about to arrive in the station strictly from the existence of that sound. Another example of this is when the player starts a conversation with a ghost, we duck most of the environmental sounds. That means that any sound not related to the dialogue gets lowered in volume in order to create the feeling of focusing on the ghost you're talking to. However, we don't lower the volume of the train jingle, because that is more of a gameplay related functional sound rather than a flavor one. Ryan, the sound designer, implemented Fmod to the project and took recordings from friends making train announcements in various languages. He then paired them with other train-related sounds before applying a variety of effects on them to make them sound like they belonged in the game's universe. I specifically wanted a distant, distorted, echoey feel to most sounds given the huge halls the sound can reverberate around, so the distortion pipeline was as follows. Get recording of a friend making an announcement.
There's the
Clean it up
red
by
line,
removing the background
so that's where
noise
I need to
and alter
go.
its timing by stretching it slightly to make it more otherworldly. Cut out the high and low frequencies. Apply a healthy dose of distortion. Use a heavy amount of echo and reverb. After which we pair it with various train-related sounds. So by starting out with this, we ended up with something like this. On top of sampling various sounds and applying effects to them, Ryan also suggested placing physical sound emitters within the game's models, causing the sound to physically belong in the game's world. For example, a very cool instance of this is how the audio is affected depending on if you are inside or outside the train. Walls muffle any sounds passing through them, and this applies to the train doors as well. So while you're inside the train, any sound effects emitting from outside of it will sound muffled, that is, until the doors open. We thought this was very cool. We also have a lot of world-building type of sounds designed to sell the illusion of actually being on a subway station, like hearing the wind if you lean over the edge of the platform. Or the subtle electrical buzz vending machines make when you're right next to them. And even the more surreal and ethereal sound the ghosts emit when they are close by. Although sound design is not without its own problems. Due to us getting greedy and adding a lot of sounds to the project, in the Game Jam version of the game, the audio ends up cutting out completely every now and then because of a buffer overload, which basically means that the game is trying to play too many sounds at once and only a few of them end up coming through. It's worth noting that most of these world-building sound effects I just mentioned we added after the Game Jam has ended, in the polished 2.0 version of the game. All in all, the sound was universally praised by the players as contributing a lot to the experience. But there were also other things that the players had to say about the game. Once the Game Jam deadline hit, we uploaded the game to the website and also sent it to some friends to get some feedback. Most players finished the game in roughly 20 minutes, which is pretty much spot on the time I was aiming for with the map layout and the frequency of small and big junction stops. Out of the 6 of my friend playtesters, the time they took to finish their first play session had an error margin of only 3 minutes. I was very happy with these results. The length of the session could be easily controlled by altering the frequency and speed of trains as well as the frequency of the ghosts. A more difficult way to extend the playtime would be to increase the scope of the map, but we weren't really planning on doing that anyway. However, even with only 20 minutes of game time, there was one common complaint from almost every single playtester. The game was boring. Due to the tight deadline of the Game Jam, we didn't have time to properly control the information density within the train stations as well as inside the train. And given the mechanic of waiting for a train to arrive at your platform, it resulted in players getting bored without anything to keep them engaged, losing focus in the process. Even though we were aware of this problem early on and we added the ghosts with the hopes of combating this exact issue, due to our implementation of the dialogue system, players reported that they weren't really interacting with the ghosts because they were worried they would miss their trains. Now, this is a very interesting claim, given that the only penalty of missing a train is having to wait around 30 extra seconds for the next one to show up. However, players felt the pressure of catching the train, which was a fascinating realization for me. In the Game Jam version, ghosts started a dialogue with you if you were simply close enough to them. This resulted in you not being able to move until you exit the conversation. It also meant that sometimes conversations were triggered without the player's intent, purely by mistake. mistake, because your collision
Emily, I
box
think I've
happened to
already met
intersect
you.
with a ghost even when you were not looking. On top of that, exiting the conversation also took an extra 3 seconds due to a limitation of the text management tool we were
There's
using.
Mandy.
This only added to that looming feeling of potentially missing the train. So as a result, we implemented a series of changes. In version 2.0 of the game, the ghosts only initiate a conversation if they are in the center of your vision cone. This means that you cannot bump into them while looking away, and it also means that you can easily walk past them even though they are in your peripheral vision. This allows players to run by ghosts to catch their train, while previously this would have triggered a conversation. But that was still not good enough. With this cone method alone, if there is a ghost behind you and you quickly turn to catch a train, a conversation would trigger. So on top of that, we added a check that requires a ghost to spend at least 0.3 seconds inside that vision cone before the conversation is triggered. Also, exiting the conversation is now instant. We have changed the text management tool we were using, and the final goodbye sentence now floats next to the ghost's head while the player regains control over their character instantly without having to wait at all. Oh, and we tweaked the animation times and the collision box sizes to make this interaction even smoother. We also tweaked the spawn points of ghosts and their walking range to make sure that they will never be right in front of a subway train door, resulting in a potentially unwanted interaction. So on each station, including the train itself, we hand-placed the spawn points in the best locations as far away from the doors as possible. And additionally, we were also considering making the ghosts turn around and walk away from you when you exit the conversation. However, this raised several problems, including the ghosts wandering outside their walking range, colliding with other hitboxes, and potentially phasing through walls, which would kind of make sense for a ghost, but it would still look wrong. Now, that's all good for improving the way ghosts work, but those changes don't fix the game is boring problem. So what did we do about that? Without implementing new mechanics or ways to interact with the environment, we opted for implementing a variety of posters populating both the station as well as the inside of the trains themselves. These are the abstract works of Beeple. Taken from his Instagram with his approval, they act as eye candy, increasing the information density by just enough in order to keep the players engaged for the crucial extra handful of seconds until they hear that audio cue that the train is about to arrive. The game automatically randomizes their graphics and spawns them in hand-placed poster frames prefabs, after which the color is adjusted to help them match and blend in with the surrounding station colors. Another interesting piece of feedback we got was players complaining that they were not able to jump, and we can totally relate to that. We avoided adding jumping in the game during the game jam because of the potential bugs it could create, from oversight when it comes to collision boxes in level design and preventing the player from jumping outside the level by mistake, stuff like that. So we immediately added the ability to jump after the game jam ended, even though it doesn't benefit the game mechanically at all. However, I think the inability to jump is more distracting than implementing it as a form of fidgeting for the player. We also added a sneaky sprint feature for those who are curious enough to try out buttons to see if they do anything. Even though these changes didn't make it in the original Game Jam version, we were pretty happy with what we achieved in only 3 days. If you'd like to try out the Game Jam version, you should be able to find it in the game's folders, by the way. However, there was one aspect of the game that did not end up as we intended in that initial Game Jam version. In the original version of the game, when you reach your destination stop, you see a red ghost, you interact with it, and after a few flavor sentences, the screen abruptly cuts to black and a pretentious conclusion fades on the screen. This was not the ending we had in mind, but it was all we could put together in that time frame while still having a functional game. We had many propositions for ending possibilities, like maybe the red ghost tells you to turn your piece of paper around only to find out some extra piece of information on its back, or maybe you finally escape the subway station and you go outside, or maybe you find out that you're in hell and there is no escape. One especially silly idea was that you find out that this was the first step in your journey and next up you have to navigate an airport terminal. Lovely. But none of those felt right. I wanted an ending that ties together the whole experience, and in that initial version of the game, the ghosts felt like more of a decoration rather than a mechanic that benefited the game. They were added with the intention of keeping the player busy while they were waiting for the train, so they were designed to tell you stories, but the problem was those stories didn't benefit the core gameplay loop at all. And I wanted to change that.
You know what? I'm going to take the red line.
In the new 2.0 ending, when you reach your destination station, you see the final ghost, and when you interact with it, you are asked exactly 5 questions. These are designed to look visually pleasing,
So my
with a
guess is they're all
disconnected,
gonna be the
smooth
same.
floating camera acting as the background. Now, the thing about those questions is that based on how you play the game, they have the potential of being completely fake. If you haven't interacted with any ghosts, these 5 questions are purely flavor. They don't have a correct answer, and the game doesn't even keep track of which answers you pick. And after you answer those fake questions,
there's
you
that
get what we
Michelle.
call the neutral ending. However, there is a good ending though, and you can get it only if you interact with at least a handful of ghosts and listen to their stories throughout your playthrough. During your
I think they're all
conversations, at
pretty
one
much the
point,
same.
most ghosts will reveal an important piece of information
That
that
could
you
be
will
wrong.
be asked about later during your interaction with the end ghost. We call this a ghost question. So, depending on how many ghosts you've interacted with, those initial 5 fake questions will be replaced with real ghost questions. We use the
Nesprano?
special command embedded in the dialogue text itself to make sure that you won't be asked about any story that didn't physically show up on your
Yep, not
screen.
you again.
So, if you answer 3 of the real ghost questions correctly,
the
you
murderer?
get the good ending. This way, players who rush through the game get an okay ending, while those
Briefcase
who
guy.
take their time have a slightly more difficult quiz at the end with the added chance of getting a more satisfying conclusion. Since different players have different playstyles, it was important for the neutral ending to avoid having any negative connotations, so the player doesn't feel punished that they didn't talk to ghosts because they simply didn't want to. We just wanted to hint that there is more to be found,
Oh, cool.
encouraging the player to
2 more stops
potentially
to go.
try again instead of punishing them. I think the player would feel cheated at the end, finding out that talking to ghosts was a requirement for the good ending instead of an option, resulting in an unsatisfactory conclusion. At this point, we were pretty happy with the proper ending implemented in the game. However, there were a lot of ideas that didn't make it even in the updated version of the game.
Alright, 1 more stop to go.
With the post-game jam version 2.0, we wanted to polish up the experience and make it more accessible without increasing its scope. I was very wary of my tendencies of adding feature creep in all my projects, so I wanted to avoid that for this one. So, with that in mind, I made the decision of leaving out several early ideas we had during the game jam. For example, one of the ideas to add complexity to the puzzle was having 2 types of trains, a local one that stops at all the stations and an express one that only stops at the junction stations, or train schedules based on the days of the week, where certain types of trains only stop at certain stations on weekdays, similar to how things are in the New York City subway. This would have required us to communicate what day of the week it is somewhere diegetically, and we either did that through the environment or we could write it on the piece of paper you
There it
start with.
is.
However, if it wasn't written in English, it was almost impossible for the player to read it, while if it was in English, it wouldn't fit with the rest
There
of
you
the
go.
world, given that your destination is written in
You're a
Cyrillic.
persistent one,
For a long
aren't you?
time, we wanted to add the ability for ghosts to give you directions
my
with
best.
the potential of certain ghosts
I've
giving
been
you
watching it
wrong
for a while now,
directions
and I
on
must say I'm
purpose.
somewhat
This would
impressed that you
probably
made it this
end up
far.
being more confusing to the player
Yeah,
than
it's been
adding
exact-
value
So
and
many stops, so
complexity
many
to the
stories. Time to
gameplay
find out
puzzle.
you've been
The problems
really paying
associated
attention.
with this design is that if
After
the
all, there's
ghosts
more
give
to
you
life than
directions
just
through
blindly
text,
following
we must
direction.
differentiate between the left and right sides of the platform
You have
and
found your
label them
destination. Well, let's see
appropriately
if you
so
can
they are
overcome
still
your judgment.
identifiable
Answer me
regardless
this.
of the direction in which the player is looking.
It all comes down to
Alternatively,
this.
the ghost
It is-
could give you directions in the form of an animation, pointing to the side you have to take.
If it all comes
But
down
that
to
would
this,
require
is it
extra time
there
to
to be
create those
feared
animations
or
and make sure
loved?
that they look good, and also test every ghost
Oh.
skin variation to make sure nothing breaks, which is very
There are two
tedious.
sides of the
We
same
also
coin.
had the idea
In your
of
honest
junction
opinion, do you
stations
think
where
that
you don't
financial
have to walk
gain
from a
can bring
platform
you
to another,
happiness?
but instead different colored trains would come on the same line, and you would have to pay attention to the
Potentially
color
but for
of
a
the train.
limited time.
This meant that the
stumbled upon the
overall
Riddler. His
color
name
of
is
the
Jason.
station
What was his
could
last
not be a
words?
single color, resulting
I
in
love
potential
you too.
confusion. Some players suggested that we should add missions assigned
Someone
to
who
you by
talked to named
ghosts in the
Isabel was
style of
God-fearing.
fetch quests
What did she
that
call
require
this
you to go to a
place?
specific station and bring something back to them, or the ability to help guide ghosts towards their destination stops. Most of these ideas would either make the puzzle
Limbo.
too complex without adding value or
stumbled upon
depth to the
what was his
gameplay loop,
last
or they would
words?
introduce the wrong kind of artificial
Bon
difficulty
voyage,
to the
kid.
project, which I was purposefully trying to avoid. In the end, I'm pretty happy with how the project turned out with the resources and time we had on hand. One final thing to
You have
mention
found
before I
your
conclude this
way.
video would be the
But it seems
alternative
that you
names we
lost a
had
bit of
for this
yourself in the
project.
process.
Initially, it was called Project
There's more to
Metropole,
life than just
mostly because
blindly
we
following
needed an urgent name
directions.
for our
That is
repository, but we
true.
also had alternatives,
Even
such
though
as
the road
Project
has ended,
Platform, or one of
the
my
journey
favorites,
has not.
Metronome, encompassing both the word metro and describing the cyclical nature of the
See you
gameplay
again
loop.
soon.
But in the end, we went with a shortened version of what we thought was the most fitting name. Lost in Trainslation.
So clearly there was more to it than there was more stories that haven't been told. So I guess this means that there's more I need to really find out. Let's have a look at this. Oh, my brain is so fried. It's only 10 till 10. My brain is so fried. I've been on this for 3 hours. I'll probably may come back to it, or maybe not. I don't know. The only thing I do know is that I'm tired. I'm not sure, it's quite unusual to hear a gamer saying that they're tired. Well, I'll end my recording right here, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed it and find this helpful. I don't know if it is. But thank you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe. And I'll see you all later.